Is everything ready?
We're short a crew member. The cabin boy is missing. But have no fear, we will leave without him if he does not present himself before the tide.
Is he an important member of the crew?
We don't need him for sailing or navigation. He's only a cabin boy.
He must have simply had a bit too much to drink in celebrating his departure. Like another I know.
I doubt that. Jonas was never one to fancy drink. And it's been 2 days since last he was seen. No, I fear something bad has happened to him. Might I ask you, if you hear anything, could you report it to me? I would like to set sail with a clear mind.
When did you see your cabin boy for the last time?
It's been 2 days since I've had any news at all. It wasn't out of the ordinary until this morning. My men have free shore leave when we're at dock. But the day of departure, every able-bodied sailor must be present on the ship.
Does the boy know anyone in Serene?
Other than fellow Nauts, you mean? I don't think so, but it's difficult to be sure.
This Jonas, does he have any close friends amongst the crew?
In tradition, we are all members of the same family. But yes, there would be Flavio and Laura.
Might I have a word with them?
As you wish. You'll find them over there, in port.
Could you tell me a little about your guild?
We are masters of the oceans. Our ships can sail where no others dare.
Thanks to your magic, so I've heard. How do you become a Nord?
Our magic, yes, that only the Nords master. As for your question, any child born on one of our ships is sea-born. He is a Nord from birth. Others are sea-gifted, joining the Nords for different reasons, often from a young age. It's how the guild is made and maintains its numbers.
The hiding place of this smuggler is filthy. But perhaps we'll discover some useful information.
Good day. Someone told me that you're a friend of Jonas's, the young cabin boy who's gone missing.
That's right, yeah. Are you looking for him?
Yes. Your captain asked me to go and find him.
Happy to hear he's taken the disappearance seriously. What can I do for you?
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a damn good navigator, and an excellent leader of men. He knows his craft well, in spite of being so young.
How old is he?
He's not seen his 25th year yet. If he keeps it up, he'll be an admiral one day.
When did you last see him?
2 days ago, in the evening. We went to have a drink in the tavern. Jonas, Lauro, and myself.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary? Was he troubled?
Maybe a tad troubled. Like he was somewhere else.
Why would that be? Give me your best guess.
Boy, I haven't the faintest idea.
Do you think he could have made himself any enemies?
I wouldn't think that for a moment. Jonas has a good heart and he steers clear of trouble and troublemakers.
What does Jonas do in his free time, when you're on land?
He just hangs around here or there. You know the cabin boys don't have half a sailor's wages. And when evening comes, we usually go down the tavern with good old Lauro.
Did he ever have one too many?
Never. He sips his pint like it was bad medicine. One drink lasts him the whole night.
Does he know anyone in Serene?
No one, far as I know.
I don't know where to start with this. Do you have any idea?
No. Lauro won't stop telling anyone who will lend him an ear that the boy was carried off by thugs.
And you don't believe him?
I like Lauro, don't get me wrong, he's like a brother. But to be honest, he drinks a little more than he should. The itch for a drink gets us all, but to him more than others, and when you drink too much, the imagination wanders. Here, yesterday, it was me who tied one over, and I thought I heard Jonas's voice by the canal. I called back to him, as you guessed, but then nothing. Drink. It blurs the senses.
I need to be going. Farewell. Good day, sailor. I've been told that you know the missing cabin boy well. Is that right?
You talking about Jonas? You bet your stars I know him. But like I've been crying to the 9 deaf winds, he didn't go missing, he was taken.
Were you a witness to the event?
Yes, I was. Even though I'd had a few tumblers in the belly, I hadn't yet lost my head. The other day, in the tavern, I saw him talking to a well-dressed man, surrounded by some other sly ruffians. And then when we left, him and I, Flavia left a little earlier, you understand? Well, those brutes were there, waiting for him. They just up and took him like that. Grabbed his arms and poof, gone. Vanished.
Why didn't you intervene?
I tried to, believe me. But my legs betrayed me. Wavering they were. And I fell into the gutter.
Did you report this to the captain?
Unfortunately not. I know all too well what weight my words carry. Even Flavia treated me like a drunken fool. And the captain? No, not telling him that. I still have some pride left, you get me?
Did Jonas seem troubled to you, the night he disappeared?
Maybe. For sure he wasn't his usual self.
Do you know what was on his mind?
No. No idea.
Why would anyone want to snatch a mere cabin boy?
How would I know? Jonas is a gentle boy who keeps his head down. You think my story is nothing but mess too, don't you?
It's just that I can't imagine a gang of thugs hoping to get a ransom for a cabin boy. Did anyone else see the kidnapping?
There was still a small crowd in the tavern. But outside, I seem to recall that regular being there. We play cards with him from time to time. Kind of fellow who plays from morning to night time to be that skilled. But now and again he comes out. When nature calls, you know. I kind of remember his face being there.
What do you think about Captain Vasco?
He's a just man who knows his knots. He's well appreciated by the crew. It's a pity that he hasn't much heart for laughs now and again. Always seems unhappy, our captain.
Thank you, Lara. I need to be going.
Strange story, this is.
Something isn't right here, I can feel it. We need to lift the veil on this. I'm looking for a Naut, a young cabin boy who's been missing roll call for 2 days now.
A Naut, you say? That's not a lot to go on. There are quite a few that come to my tavern.
According to one of his fellows, he would have been taken right here.
A kidnapping? In my establishment? You surely jest. Or at least I hope you do. I would have noticed. That doesn't hold water.
Someone told me about one of your faithful clients. A big gambler, it would seem.
I see. An able-bodied man. Passes his time lightening the pouches of sailors coming through.
Where might I find him at this time?
Here? He would never give away his chair at his table. Anything else?
I need to be off. Farewell.
Goodbye.
Who are you? I don't recognize you. Am I in your debt?
No. Have no fear about that. It's for a different reason that I am here. I'm looking for a Naut that disappeared 2 days ago, after visiting this establishment. A young cabin boy. 2 members of his crew accompanied him.
Yes, that does ring a bell. I've played with the 3 of them.
What can you tell me about the boy? How was he that night?
He seemed rather nervous, as if he was worried about something. Didn't feel like playing, that I remember. And he must have been right to be nervous, if he's disappeared.
Tell me what happened that evening.
A rich merchant came in, with a band of strong arms. The kind of men you can round up for a few coins, if you catch my drift. They exchanged words with the cabin boy. The kid was defensive, not sitting pretty. And then they finally left.
And after that?
It just so happens that I did go out for a breather. Needed some fresh air. And I think I might well have seen those same men grab him. But that was none of my business. I wouldn't have thought that they were kidnapping him if that's what it was. They weren't particularly rough with him.
Who was the rich merchant, do you think? A jilted lover? A moneylender?
No, sir. You are in luck. It so happens that I know the man. It was Sir Fontaine, that merchant.
Where can I find him?
He has a house in the wealthy boroughs, just off the canal. A stone's throw from the Thélème embassy.
Thank you. You've been immensely helpful.
This man is completely owned by his love for the game. Do you think we can trust him?
What would he gain from lying?
I have no idea. But what would any wealthy merchant gain from holding a penniless child?
Might I help you, sir?
I would like to have a word with Sir Fontaine.
He is absent, but the lady of the house could certainly receive you. Enter, please.
Oh, I know you. I've seen you at court. You are Lord de Sade. And to what do I owe the honor of your visit, Excellency?
I would like to have a word with your husband.
He is not here, but perhaps I could be of help.
It concerns a delicate matter. We're looking for a missing cabin boy. According to witnesses, he had an argument with your husband before being taken.
I see. I am afraid that you have been misled. You seem to have come to the wrong conclusion. The cabin boy you speak of was not taken. He has simply returned home.
Excuse me, but I'm not sure I understand.
Don't you see, Your Excellency? We got our son back.
I am very surprised. Several witnesses confirmed that your son had a fight with your husband, and that his men escorted him from the tavern using force. If he had joined your husband willingly...
Witnesses? In a tavern? And you choose to believe these drunkards over a respectable family?
These witnesses are all in agreement, and it's their testimonies that have led me to your doorstep.
My son was probably shocked to have found us. My husband and the other men might have simply had to carry him. A gesture that your drunkards must have misunderstood.
What was your son doing on a Nauts ship? Why would they have taken him?
It is what they do. Through pacts and contracts, they steal away young children from their mothers.
What are you talking about?
I would have thought that a legate would know these things. But it is true that you are young and inexperienced. It seems that you have been protected from the turpitudes of our own nation and their terrible allies. This horrible, constant ransoming that they put us through. But I will not say another word. You will have no trouble verifying the details now that you know what to look for.
Where might I find your son now?
I cannot say, Excellency. You must understand why. Until the Nauts have set sail, we live in fear they will take him back from us.
This pact? It sounds like some fear-inducing story.
The Nauts wouldn't be the first to recruit through dubious means.
Is everything ready?
I'm still without news of my cabin boy, but we will have to do without.
I spoke with a woman who told me she was the mother of the cabin boy. She claims that her son was taken from her.
Taken? Her son is sea-gifted. His parents were required to give him up to honor the terms of a contract.
A contract? But what kind of contract are we speaking of?
A commercial contract. In exchange for services rendered by the Nauts, some families cede more than gold. In some cases, nations even trade some of their subjects before they're born. I wouldn't be able to tell you the condition of Jonas's contract. I didn't even know he was originally from Serene. But what I can tell you is the young man hasn't seen his parents since he was a small child. And ever since, he's been a Naut. Our ships are his home. We are his only family.
Be back soon, Captain.
You see anyone else who might be able to help us? Anyone who's not a Nauts?
Sir de Corsillion's a veritable well of scientific knowledge. He could tell us a little more.
Would you be in need of my help in any way?
I've had a word with Lady Fontaine. You must know her. That rich family that lives near the docks. She told me a strange story about her son who was a cabin boy on our ship. She said that he was taken when he was a child due to some contract with the Nauts.
Who was a cabin boy? Do you mean he's no longer one?
They took him back to bring him home.
Well, that is very unpleasant news, de Sade. We need to do all we can to bring the boy back to his ship. Since time immemorial, there's always been a certain price to pay for the services of the Nauts. Children born on their ships belong to them. It's the rule of the sea. But certain contracts are so important that they also require children to be offered in exchange. From time to time, the congregation has passed such accord, and certain noble families had to give their children up.
Are you telling me that the Fontaines lost their son because of some agreement signed between my uncle and the Nauts?
No. That pact ended a long time ago. This cabin boy couldn't have been a part of that contract. But Sir Fontaine has made a fortune trading with the Alliance, via ships.
Do you mean he would have offered up his own son in exchange for wealth?
Well, he probably did it before the birth of the child, and regretted it afterwards. But that is of little importance. What counts most is that you bring the boy back to the Nauts as quickly as possible. Breaking a contract with the seafarers has always cost us dearly. Our nation could feel it in its coffers.
I will do my best.
A father selling his own son for a few boat rides. For ugly, that is ugly.
Lady Fontaine didn't seem to have any knowledge of that detail. That could be of use to us. This document mentions another property. A warehouse.
That would be a great place to hide. Shall we take a peek?
Sir de Sade, what are you doing here?
I've come looking for your son. The Nauts are worried about his disappearance.
Those Nauts took him from us, but now we've got him back, and he'll be staying with us.
Would you be so kind as to hear what I have to say, Sir Fontaine? I looked into the contract that binds you to the Nauts. It was indeed you who ceded your son to them in exchange for help with your business with the bridge.
It is so. But that sort of contract is ignoble. I never would have signed it if I had known.
You should have thought of that before. Breaking the contract could have regrettable consequences for the congregation.
The prince will know how to negotiate with the Nauts. If they take my son back, my wife will die of sadness.
Her sadness will be all the more terrible if she learned of your role in the story, don't you think?
You wouldn't dare tell her. I beg you.
You're not leaving me with a choice.
Very well. Take the key and take him away. Cursed be the day I delivered my son unto the Nauts.
All children leave the nest one day or another, sir. Farewell.
Who are you?
My name is de Sade. I am legate of the congregation. Your captain has sent me to find you.
And were you able to convince my father to allow me to go free?
Yes. Even if I had to bend his arm a little.
That doesn't surprise me. He seemed to have no intention of changing his mind. I feel more sorry for my mother. She seems so sweet and happy to see me.
You don't seem to be all that close to your parents.
I hadn't seen them since I was 5 years old. I barely remember them. They find me, capture me, and lock me up in this warehouse. Hard to grow close after all that. My family is the Nauts. I am sorry for my parents, but that is the way of it now. Can I go home?
Yes. You should still go and say farewell to your mother. Then find your way to the ship. I'll see you there.
My cabin boy, Jonas, is back on ship. I have you to thank, I imagine.
You do. It's a rather sad affair, and though solved, leaves a broken family behind.
All we can do is plot a course. No one tells the wind what to do. I do thank you. I didn't think you'd go to so much trouble for a cabin boy. Your actions bring you honor.